I'm Nicole Rachat with the Investing News Network, and joining me today is Jim Gallagher, CEO of North American Palladium, and we are at day 2 of PDAC. How are you today?
Very good, Nicole, thank you.
Great. And how has the conference been for you so far?
Well, so far it's just starting, but we have a lot of meetings lined up, and you get to meet a pretty broad spectrum of people that do business in the mining game, and so it's a good week, but it's a busy week.
Right. Okay, so obviously the big news for Palladium is that prices are really rallying. What are your thoughts, or how are you feeling about that?
Well, the price of palladium has hit record highs over the last couple of months, and it continues to increase. So certainly as a palladium miner, and we're a primary palladium miner, very good news for us. That price movement is a result of a fundamental deficit in the market. So this is a supply-demand thing. It is not speculatively driven. Some people have talked about a bubble and a potential bubble, but I think all of the experts that really follow palladium, which is actually a pretty small group, really see this as a straight supply-demand issue.
And has your company felt the effects of the rise in price yet?
We most certainly have. I mean, we're a turnaround story. Our operation's been in business now for 25 years. Had a bit of a mixed history, but we've really been on a turnaround for the last couple of years. So our operational performance has recently improved. At the same time, the price has improved. So on the back of both of those, we reported record earnings just this for 2018. Had 168 million EBITDA, 119 million in earnings. So really good time for a single asset company, pretty strong earnings, and that was based at an average price of $1,100 an ounce last year, and we're currently well over $1,500 an ounce. So 2019 is looking like it's going to be a very strong year for us as well.
Okay. And now you mentioned how some people are saying that palladium might be on a bubble. I know that some analysts are saying that, some banks have commented that it's headed for a bubble that might burst some. What are your thoughts on that?
There's a graph that I often show in some of my presentations that shows how tightly the price of palladium used to be tied to investor holdings, ETF funds, etc. So really, if people were speculating and holding palladium, the price would go up. That changed in the beginning of 2017. Above ground stocks and ETFs are probably at their lowest level they've been in over a decade, and yet the prices continue to climb. And this is really, there's been a step change in the demand in the pollution control environment. 85% now of palladium goes into catalytic converters and gasoline engines. There's a step change in demand that's driving this price increase, and surface stocks being held by speculators is actually at an all-time low. So it certainly, in my view, is not a bubble.
Okay. And when some people have said you can easily switch it out for platinum, but it's not so easy.
No.
How do you see that, and what is your response to that?
Back in the 90s, when catalytic converters came on, they actually switched from platinum to palladium because of the price difference. But over the last 20 years, they've become a highly engineered item. The amount of precious metals has been thrifted down through engineering. At the same time, the emissions have improved dramatically. So currently in the design, platinum cannot substitute directly in the same quantities. You would need significantly more. You would need to change the layout. They respond differently to heat and the chemistry. So you would need significantly more. And the real fact is that the palladium market, which is not known by most people, is actually larger than the platinum market. So you would be shifting from a market that's already in deficit to a smaller supply base. So there may be some substitution in small amounts, but not enough that's going to make a material difference to the price, I don't think.
Okay. And switching gears a little bit to talk about North American Palladium. As you were saying, you had a record year for 2018. Can you just tell me some of the catalysts that were behind such a great year?
Well, we've got our underground mine is performing extremely well. Last quarter of last year, we were at 6,700 tons a day with an underground mining cost of $35 a ton. So that is already makes us one of the largest and lowest cost underground mines in Canada, something we're quite proud of. And we are planning to increase the production rate from the underground mine to 12,000 tons a day over the next 3 years. So we have an expansion. We're filling our mill at close to 12,000 tons a day now with some surface stockpiles. But we intend to take the mine to 12,000 tons a day. So higher production rate. We've changed the mining method, the very low cost method. So we've done a lot of fundamental things on the infrastructure. We've basically taken most of the work on site, taken it in-house instead of using contractors, which was past practice. So we've pulled a lot of levers to get to where we are in terms of a very strong positive cash flow at this point in time.
Okay. And my final question for you, as we're talking about 2019, do you have any projects that you would like to talk about or anything on the horizon that with exciting news in 2019?
Well, we're definitely executing on the expansion to 12,000 tons a day, which is a big project. We're also putting significantly more money into exploration than we have in the past, and that's quite exciting. So we're pretty confident. We have a number of targets now underground that we're going to be drilling this year. We have a number of targets on surface very close to the mine site that we're going to be drilling on, and we have some regional. So we've kind of captured over the last several years a lot of the land position in northwestern Ontario. So we think the exploration portfolio is going to help add many years and hopefully decades to the life of mine. So I think that's our current big initiative at this point in time.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for taking your time out of this busy conference to chat with me. Once again, I am Nicole Rachat with the Invest in News Network on day 2 of PDAC, and joining me here is Jim Gallagher, CEO of North American Palladium.
Thank you.